Hello, I'm Dr. Vikki Petersen. I want to talk to you today about some very exciting research in the area of longevity and prevention of disease. So this research has been performed by Dr. Walter Longo, and he's coming out with a book on longevity, but it's not until 2018, so this is your sneak peek to his research, and it really is fascinating, very exciting, and it comes down to 3 simple steps. So what could be better than just 3 steps to increase your longevity and decrease your incidence of disease? So what Dr. Longo looked into was certain particular pathways in the human body that when they're engaged, either extend our longevity or diminish our longevity, move us toward disease or move us or protect us from disease. And it came down to some very simple things. One he looked into was calorie restriction. It has long been touted as something that would extend life. You've maybe heard me talk about intermittent fasting. A little bit different. Calorie restriction is actually diminishing your calories 30 to 50%. So when you're getting into 50%, that's a lot. Needless to say, compliance is not great when you're in that arena. But what he looked at was actually a lot of research that didn't show necessarily all the benefits that had maybe been discussed in that arena. But what he did find was this, is that you can simply not eat for 12 hours and then eat for 12 hours, and he called it a fasting mimicking diet. So it's mimicking fasting in that you're only eating half of the day, but it's not to the degree that certain intermittent fasting programs recommend, but it still got all the benefits. So it's pretty easy to not eat for about 3 hours before you go to bed at night, sleep for 8, don't eat breakfast for an hour. There you go, there's your 12 hours. So I recently came back from a conference on Alzheimer's and reversing Alzheimer's, and it was interesting was Dr. Petersen led this conference, and it was interesting how that 3-hour window before bed with no food was also brought up for protecting brain health. So now you have protecting your brain, increasing your longevity, and avoiding disease. So it sounds like that 3-hour window, which I have to work at a bit because I get home late and I love to cook dinner for my family. So we all need to work on that perhaps, but a 3-hour window before bed with no food, and then a nice night's sleep and not eating until that 12-hour mark. So that was number 1. Number 2 was he found that the particular pathways that move us toward a shorter life and more disease are very influenced by the protein and the sugar in our diet. So in his dietary plan, which he did with mice and men, both, and there was valid results from both, is that it was a low protein diet. Now low from the standpoint of the way Americans typically eat, but certainly not low as in something that's going to negatively affect your health. So it was actually 10% protein of total calories. And so no sugar, of course, from the refined sugar, artificial sweeteners, things like that. The diet was very strongly plant-based. The initial diet was completely plant-based, so it was 55% complex carbohydrates. That's where your fruits, your vegetables, your beans, and your legumes come in. Healthy fat at about 35%, and then the 10% protein. But once again, everything was coming from plants because they had absolutely no animal protein in the entire 100% of what both the mice and the humans ate. So strongly complex carbohydrates, very low protein, 0 sugar was the way the diet was set up. But what was interesting was this. So when you're fasting, things happen, which is why, why does fasting in this 12 hours extend your life? Because the body actually goes and scavenges dead, dying, bad cells, okay? So it's just scavenging them up. Then, which is really cool, is in the refeeding stage, so when you start eating again, what occurs is that rejuvenation and repair happens. Specifically, he looked at MS with an autoimmune disease, multiple sclerosis, and discovered that damaged cells were destroyed, and then the new cells, stem cells that were produced during the refeeding, actually turned into healthy cells that had no autoimmune tendencies to them. So it brought up a really interesting point, which is that there's a lot of talk about stem cells. I have a friend who had a clinic outside the US and was doing a lot with stem cells, but it was really varying results, quite frankly, and I hear this a lot. And so what Dr. Longo brought up is that, you can give somebody stem cells, but where did they go? They don't know exactly what to do necessarily. Versus if you've been fasting for the 12 hours, the body's been cleaning up and destroying this old stuff and, ill cells that need to be gotten rid of. And then when you refeed and the stem cells get produced, they know where to go, you see, because they just cleaned up the old dying decayed cells, so they know where to go in the body to replace and restore and rejuvenate. So it's really, really fascinating. One thing that was interesting for you protein lovers, which I know Americans are traditionally, is that what he did find is it could all be for naught. All this effort could go out the window and you would not achieve any benefits if you didn't maintain that low protein diet. So the protection of the cells was completely lost, even if you fasted, if when you ate you had even a moderate protein diet, let alone a high protein diet. So really interesting. I just want to check my notes to see if there's anything else I want to tell you about. No, that was it. So we have the 3 steps of 12 hours without food, with also the 3 hours before bed. I'm going to work on that too, so we'll both work on that together. And then we've got the diet that's high in complex carbohydrates, good healthy fat, low in protein. And then we have to make sure that when you refeed that you're keeping that high quality. You're doing plant-based almost exclusively. The one thing Dr. Longo did allow was some fish. Of course, make sure the fish is not loaded with heavy metals. That will do your brain and body no good. And it's a little difficult to find that healthy fish, which is why plant-based is so much easier. But that was the one thing he did allow from an animal base, was healthy fish in severe moderation, mind you. So we've got those 3 easy steps, and I really wanted to share this with you. Once again, Dr. Longo's book on longevity will be out in 2018. So in the interim, I want to wish you very good health. If your health is not the way you want it to be, please reach out. That's why I'm here. We help the world's busiest people regain, retain, and reclaim their health, energy, and resilience. That's why we're here. We practice root cause medicine. So if you need help, visit our website, rootcausemedicalclinic.com, or give us a call, 408-733-0400. We can extend you a free phone consultation to make sure we're the right place for you. And we do treat people from across the country. You don't need to live locally. I'll see you next time.